Hi, it's James here from the Sprinkle Donut Forge in Moscow, Texas, and today I'll be assembling a pair of tong blanks that I purchased from Ken's Custom Iron. And let me just start by saying I am not affiliated with or endorsed by Ken's Custom Iron. It's just where I bought these tongs, and I want you to know where they came from in case you want to make them available to you and purchase some. Anyway, these are the quick railroad spike tongs, and these are the blanks that I received, and they come with instructions on how to bend and twist these and to rivet them together to create yourself a pair of rail spike head holding tongs. So on the instructions here that they give you, the little instruction sheet, it says before you begin to watch their video, and I highly suggest you do that, but watch it carefully and watch it several times. There's a point in that video where it talks about adjustments as needed, but I noticed that the tongs were untwisted for those adjustments. I don't know if they untwisted them after the twist or if all this was video footage from before they were twisted. Just take it as you will, watch the video. And it says to install your rivet. Well, if you notice the bosses on these, if you look at them real close, you can kind of see a circle in both of them. So what I said, well, if I'm going to install my rivet, I want to install it in the center on both pieces in the same location. And of course, center punching was recommended, but how do you find the middle of that? Well, you could go straight across this distance, find the center of that, and then crosshair it. I don't know, that's a little bit iffy. What I did was I took this caliper and adjusted it to fit comfortably on where it appeared the outside of the circle would be, and I matched it against both pieces, and then I measured that distance using a scale, and then I calculated half of that distance and set up the dividers. And I used the divider like a compass to make a scratch on a piece of cardstock, which gave me a center point, and it gave me this little disc. With the little disc, you can center it up, and you can see your middle. Then you can take your center punch and make an accurate dot. That way your holes will jive when both pieces go together, hopefully. And so that's the method that I've devised on how to center your rivet on these particular tongs. Also, a hammer much like this one was used, so I'm going to use this one. Of course, this is a diagonal. I forged it that way, but it's about the right weight and length of what was used. So I'm going to try to follow these instructions to the T, as though I have never assembled a pair of tongs before, and then we'll see what we got. Well, it says to start heating up part A. So let's heat up part A and orient it in the vise. The little notch facing up, like they said. Put the edge of the vise centered right in there. And then we're going to fold it over 90 degrees, just like they said to do. So I'm going to heat it up, we'll do that, and then we'll move on to the next step. See you in a minute. Alright, here it comes. See, to lock it in there with it centered on that little groove up top, and to knock that 90 degrees with a hammer. So far I got this. Alright, next you gotta heat it up. You're supposed to twist that up this way. So let's try that. See you in a minute. Alright, here it comes out again. Locked in there like it was. It says to twist it upwards 90 degrees. close the gap. There we go. Did that. Alright, we'll see what to do next. Okay, so now I'm supposed to heat this side up with the rain on the left and about a 1/4 inch of this from the vise. Put it in here like that and bend those tines over backwards that way. So that's what we're going to do. See you in a minute. Alright, I'm supposed to put this in there, rain facing left. Leave about a 1/4 inch sticking up. About that much. I'm supposed to fold them over at 90 degrees. Make adjustments as needed. Got them pretty close. I'm going to take them on the anvil and straighten it up a little bit. See you in a minute. Alright, they're about ready to pull out. If you watch the video, not the paper instructions, it'll talk a little bit about upsetting the corners of those prongs to make your tongs a little bit stronger. So upsetting is basically going from a curve to a sharper degree by pounding on the end, upsetting it. And that kind of strengthens the little prongs a bit. So while I'm doing the adjustments, I'm going to attempt to start the upsetting process, and we'll see if we can't do a good job of this. It says recommended, and I can see why. It makes sense. So draw these out, adjust them and upset them. Yeah, I can see where that might help a bit. It looked pretty good to me. Arr. Okay, next thing it says to do is heat that up and twist it. So that's what I'm going to do. Back to the vise. See you in a minute. Oh, and I did make an error. If you'll watch their video, if you plan to make these tongs, whenever you're upsetting the bottom corners by pounding on the ends, you're supposed to quench those, just the ends first. That way you isolate the heat to the area you're trying to upset. I didn't do that, but luckily the upset turned out okay. So follow the instructions whenever you purchase a thing. This is just to show somebody like you buying these things and making them work. So we'll see you in a minute for the twist. Alright, here they come. Just to put it in there like that. And twist it around 90 degrees. Straighten with a hammer as needed. Well, it needs it. Not bad. I'm using tongs to handle the rain because it's become kind of hot and I don't want to quench anything yet. So there we go. Let's see. It's kind of cool looking. I don't see any cracks or anything for me. So, next step, draw out the reins. See you in a minute. Now, the most boring part of any tong making video I've ever seen is drawing out the reins. Now, for the sake of it being proper, I'm going to show you some of it, and you'll get the idea of what I'm doing, but I'm not going to put you through watching me draw out both of those reins. Now, I will say this: if you have a gas forge, I do not. I use a solid fuel coal forge, as you probably know. But if you have a gas forge, the amount of heat coming out of it causes the need for a little bit longer tongs. So when you're drawing out your tongs, there's plenty of meat there. You can get them long enough to get your hands away from the heat if you're using a forge that produces a lot more heat than mine does. But I don't want mine too long, so I'm just going to do a basic draw out on them, knock the corners down, make them a little longer, and that's going to be it for that. And we'll move on to the next step according to the directions I received. So I'm going to heat this up, I'm going to draw it out, and I'm not going to show you all of it. No need for that. These tongs are so wonky. Get rid of those. Black tongs. Just gonna use some flat jaws. Not perfect for this shape, but it's hard to find something to fit this shape. Warm that up a minute. I don't know if you can see, I knocked the corners down a bit, and I'm going to finish drawing these out and we'll get back with you on the next step. Just so you can see what I'm doing is I'm drawing it out square, then octagon by knocking the corners down, and then if you wish you can go round by continuing to knock the facets down until it's a round profile. And like I said, there's enough stock here to where these tongs can stretch out as long as you need them to for your intended purposes. And so far I'm liking the way the steel moves. So let me get these done and we'll get on to the next thing. See you in a minute. Alright, I've done the drawing on the reins. I didn't make them very much longer. I like the length, I like the heft of them for my personal uses. So basically all I did was draw them out just a tad and knock all the corners down and make them a little more round and comfortable in the grip. And I was able to get the length. Hold on, let me line them up. I was able to get the length approximate. It's good enough, feels good in the hand. So the next step is to center punch the holes and then drill them. Normally I punch all my holes, but here's the template that I made earlier. I'm going to center it on what looks like the circle of the boss. I'm going to center punch a mark to be drilled. Right. Next, try and get them on there where it'll stay. The way I can be as accurate as possible getting the hole in the center. Alright. Center punched both pieces. I'm going to go drill them out and then install the provided rivet. This is the rivet that was provided with these tong blanks. This is a similar rivet that I made. You notice there's a lot more meat on the head. They used a rivet heading cup tool in the video to keep from distorting that shape, so I'm going to use one that I made, and we'll go from there. But next we'll see at the drill press. Let's drill these holes out. I'm going to take the provided rivet and go match up the appropriate drill bit to make this hole. See you in a minute. Alright, here we are at the press. Tighten up drill bit. Yeah, this press and I have been through a lot. There's the hole. We'll do the other one, and we'll see when it's time for the rivet. See you in a minute. Alright, the holes are drilled. I've just assembled the pieces and placed the rivet in the 5/16 hole I drilled, sticking up that much. Couldn't find my little rivet header, so I made myself a quick and dirty out of a bolt, a ball peen hammer as a struck tool, so that should work. So I'm going to heat this up. Rest that crown in there in my little rivet header, and we'll set the rivet. After that will come adjusting, holding an actual rail spike. So we'll see how this goes. Let's heat it up and we'll see you in a minute. Alright, let's try this. think I need to send that home just a little bit more. I'm going to give it another heat. See you in a minute. Alright. Kind of pretty rivet. You can give it more heat and loosen it up later. Anyhow, riveted. I didn't destroy the original rivet head, so that's a plus. Kind of like mine better though. Anyway, let's fit this thing to a spike. That's the next step. See you in a minute. Alright, out she comes. See what happens. I want it to grip a little bit tighter without the reins touching. So next I'm going to hold something between the handles while I get the final adjustments done. That way I'll still have a little bit of purchase left once it's fully engaged. But altogether it's working out pretty good. So I'm going to heat this up, space the handles, finish the adjustments, and we'll see you in a minute. Alright, here we go. Okay, what I don't like is I I got them to touch off, but there's a gap now between that little thumb and the place it's supposed to be touching. So I'm going to heat this up, and I'm going to try to drive this down where it will touch again. So we'll do that in the hardy hole. See you in a minute. Alright, here they go. Might want to put them on the correct way. My little gapper in there. I'm liking that. Switch that off. Drop it down. Alright. Here's the spike I've been using. Let's see how it holds it. Interesting. Well, there's a grip it's got. It's got a hold of it. It's not moving any direction. I got a little bit of play in the tongs where I can get a better grip. I think I'm going to have to spread those just a little bit. That's no big deal. Anyway, right now it's holding it great. So yes, I do think this is a plausible purchase, and I do think it's doable. Well, there you go. I have assembled my set of quick rail spike tongs that I purchased from Ken's Custom Iron Store. It wasn't that bad. I followed the directions. I got something that will hold a spike and retain the head shape. So we're going to have some fun with this, and I want to give a big shout out and thanks to my patrons for making this possible. And any of y'all interested in getting you some quick spike tongs you can assemble yourself, watch the video that comes with the information, and now you've seen a guy like me do it, so maybe you can do it too. There you go. Well, I will share the link to the how-to video for these particular tongs in the description of this video. So I suggest you watch it and see how nicely they done. Anyway, I'm just enthused with these things, and we're going to have some fun. Get back to some spike forging here and there. That's all I got for this evening. Until next time, bye.